Hello, let's make a painting and we're gonna see what is gonna come up today. Water, paper, and the last time, yesterday, I did one big red splash and the mountains turned pretty satisfying for me. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna start with the same red thing. I wish I could save a little bit more red on the last time in the middle. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, so I will make sure this time it work out. All right, let's start with this thing. Same thing. I don't think she wanna be mountains again, but that is totally up to her. I know one thing. I will try to keep this red in the middle. So I'm gonna saturate that more and more. The reason I'm putting so much red, by the way, is because I don't know what else to do. That's why I'm keep. Every time you see me like sitting on the one place, I don't know what to do, so I don't want to do anything new. I just want to repeat whatever I did before, so I don't mess it up, like my life. Although I messed up my life quite a bit, but I try to do that. Some dark blue, straight from the tube, and now keep in mind there's like it's wet only in the middle, so I'm gonna try to move around to make this kind of a flickering effect on a dry paper on the foreground, and pretty much try to do some kind of perspective line so we can have some kind of depth in the painting. Now for the sky, I'm just gonna put a little bit of light blue, but pretty much it's gonna be the same as the ground. And I really wanna keep the red this time. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's gonna be trees. That's gonna be burning trees. The way the blue mixed with the red, that's great. That's a decision making. I'm gonna keep that. It's gonna be trees, burning trees. That's what it's like, cause it just grow up from nowhere. Well, from the ground, but it grow up and it's burning. So what I'm gonna do? Well, I'm gonna get even more black wash. I will take a black wash, and I will make very clear where is the midground, and slowly go back to the horizon by simply adding black wash. Now the reason I'm going with the black wash here is because with the blue and red blend, that's a lot of water there, man. So I need some kind of a control. So that's why I'm gonna put a black wash. It's still very washable. You can blend it pretty well, but then you can kind of control it and stay firm to some point. It's not like a watercolor, although pretty similar. All right, some more red. That's going to be a reflection on the midground and the foreground. Well, if it's a fire, that's going to be a reflection. It's kind of it's not a middle of the day, it's more like a dusk. So that's why everything is going to be in a more darker tone. Just put some reflection. I try to use some kind of a dry brush, so I want to keep the little flickering effect I have around. That's with the red, and I feel like this is good, but I feel like it needs to be more intense. Maybe more red in the middle. Yeah, I will. Boy, that's very saturated. All right, you know what? I will compensate for the previous painting. And I would just let it go out. Plus, I'm going to emphasize on the fire. So, and you see as more as I go up, I blend it. Also, when they grow up, the trees, once they grow up, it's going to be very nice contrast between the red and black, and which ones always work very well. The other thing is giving me, now I just pay attention, is giving me like a layer of very intense red and more washed red. Maybe I should put a little bit of yellow. Not sure. Maybe I should. Let's take a palette knife, and this time actually real palette knife. Let me try. I'm not a big fan for oil paintings. I love to use that palette knife. For watercolor, let me try. I'll try to make some very fine lines. Maybe scratch it. Maybe push it down. Nah. Yeah, I don't think so. Nah, let's go back to the old boy. Let's grow up some trees. Just pushing from the, just take the black gouache and push it up. Let me see. Yeah, that's much better. That's, I don't know, for oil, the real palette knife for oil is work very well for me. It's very controllable. But for watercolor, I find like this thing is way better for me, the plastic one. Although they give it that for, they recommend that for acrylic, I believe. Anyway, we grow up some trees and now we're gonna put some kind of reflection and burn wood on them by simply remove some of the paint. So we have a nice contrast between red and black, and we're gonna add, well, we're not gonna add, we're gonna remove some of the paint so we can have light going through the trees. Also, it's gonna give us some kind of texture. So we have very blended sky. And then we're gonna have a very textured trees, excuse me. And then we're gonna have a perspective lines on the foreground and midground. Maybe a little bit of, I still feel like yellow is gonna be a good option here for some reason. But where, well, let's finish the tree. So I will make some branches already burned down and they're moving up. Something to break and overlap the fire on the background. Maybe some tall grass. Yes, yeah, there's a tall grass over there. Some kind of a wind going on here. I'll take some gold green. Let's go with the gold green. I don't think yellow is gonna work well. Maybe some grass. Yeah, I think this is good because it's gonna break the contrast between the red and blue on the midground and foreground. So we're gonna have this strong contrast on the burning fire, and we're gonna emphasize there, and we're gonna unite everything on the foreground and midground so it doesn't distract our attention from the main event, which one is trees burning down. And there we go. Watercolor, abstract, landscape.